As the Arizona Cardinals continue to go through the season through hell, is there going to be a change at head coach in the offseason or maybe even before that? Bo Brock, Johnny Venerable, PHNX Cardinals. Like and subscribe to PHNX Sports. And Johnny, despite the Cardinals' 2 non-competitive appearances against division rivals and being 3-13 in division since JG took over, it's not necessary that JG is going to be sent packing at the end of the year.
Yeah, and again, let's preface this by saying that this is not Bo and I's opinion on this. It's not hypothetically what we would do, right? When we certainly know what the fan base wants right now. And just cutting to the point of what I'm hearing, we're hearing will likely happen. And that's that Jonathan Gannon is going to remain the head coach of this team in 2026. And again, you could have a lot of emotions that feel like that, whether that's the right decision or the wrong decision. There is no disputing they have regressed. They have been non-competitive, and things can always change 7 games to go if it continues down this route. I want to preface that by saying, they lose out, every game looks like yesterday. Okay, we're having a different conversation, but you're not playing Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDonald, the NFC West every week. There are winnable games that they feel like are left on the schedule. I can tell you definitively, double stamp this. Jonathan Gannon got support, reassurance after the game from leadership that, you know what, let's just chalk this up as a season that didn't go our way, and let's move forward together. That's as much as I can share. Yeah. That's going to, I'm sure, piss a lot of people off. We're just bringing facts on this video on demand here on PHNX Sports. I can also tell you, Michael Bidwill wants Monty Ossenford and Jonathan Gannon with him when they open the new North Phoenix facility. The 3 of them, the brain trust, and they want to correct this together. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to make changes to the staff. Yeah. That doesn't mean that people maybe couldn't get fired from the staff from here until the end of the season, right? We're recording this before the press conference for JG later today. But the big 3 for the franchise, the owner, the GM, the head coach, are going to be in place, barring something unforeseen here in the next 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, there's a lot to unpack there. Obviously, you're trying to find a path forward, right? Where it would be, a light at the end of the tunnel, and that there's a successful run in the current contingent for the Arizona Cardinals, Johnny. But, the optics of this are about as against the grain as modern day NFL 2025 going into 2026 really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have a fan base where, unfortunately, as we're on record, being Jonathan Gannon guys, but remain objective as far as covering this team and realizing that the team wasn't competitive in all 3 phases and back-to-back games. And you look at the stats and the standings, and it just hasn't been where it needs to be. And traditionally, those coaches that have these types of records are shown the door. So it's going to be a tough sell, and trying to weather this storm. It's not only, as you mentioned, going into the offseason in the 2026 season, this facility is not set to open until 2027. I mean, they haven't even, I'm not even sure they've broken ground on this. So again, we got a long time between now and then. They've dug themselves a monumental, gigantic size hole with, what people would perceive as maybe a hoe size shovel to try to dig themselves out of this.
I think I've seen some talk on Twitter. I posted this last night. Yeah. And so I saw some quotes this morning, some comments that if this is true, that it's about money and that Michael Bidwill doesn't want to pay 3 coaches because, of course, they're still paying Cliff Kingsbury's extension. And we know JG and Monty got 5-year deals, right? I think it's impossible to say whether that's true or not. I don't think that's true.
I don't buy into that either. I think
Michael Bidwill loves these 2 guys, believes in them. I also think, fair or not, when he hired them, and we remember the state of the job at the time in 2023, I think there was an understanding, guys, you're gonna see your deals through. You're gonna be able to see this through, your vision through. We're not gonna cut corners. We're not gonna, we're not gonna take this as a a year-to-year thing where you could be gone at any moment, barring like, a scandal or anything like that. Like, I'm going to let you guys, I want to be able to have a reputation of somebody who gives coaches and GMs ample time. And maybe that's the wrong decision. I don't know if it's the right decision. It sure looks like the wrong one this morning based on the last 2 weeks, right? But I also think like Michael Bidwill, I'm going to get killed for this, and his late father ran through coaches like the Jets and the Giants do now. And maybe he's done doing that. Like I think that there's an expectation with this fan base that, that Michael Bidwill can't get anything right, and the football personnel department's terrible. And it's just like, well, what did we say when they hired these guys? Like, give them time to see their vision through. Maybe he's too patient. That's not for me to say. But what I can say is like what we were asking for in 2023 and what you needed to promise people is time to get it right. And they're going to get plenty of time to see this through. So I don't even know if you can blame Michael Bidwill in that sense. If that's what they were promised and that's what they're discussing and that's the reinforcement that they're getting and the assurance. Yeah. I mean, like, be mad at the football people. I think Michael Bidwill is just like, guys, figure it out. We're in this together. And that's, that's better than Michael Bidwill micromanaging his employees in Tempe that we heard about. Like I was just call a spade in that aspect. Yeah. Look, I mean, there's so many variables at play here. The emotions are running about it as high as they get. As far as trying to talk a fan base into this following the performances that we've witnessed in back-to-back weeks, and really what we've seen from the jump of the 2025 season, given what the expectations were. It's just kind of what we've gone through versus what we set, like you're talking about when they were hired day one, in the undertaking that they, in the vision that they were going to put themselves through. Sure, that like patience has to be at a premium, but now like as you live through it, it is this fan base, the majority of them, you would be hard pressed to find anybody that has the confidence that if they do get the roster to where they want, they can, they have for the first time a healthy enough roster, which is usually never the case in the NFL. Right. Like, are they going to be when there's a truly level playing field, which, is asking a lot in this sport? Would you say like, can they get the job done? And like, I see the things as far as what Gannon has built culture wise within those walls that hasn't been there before, what he's done and how he's been able to push Bidwill to do things that his family hasn't done, and Monty Ossenfort along with JG, how they've been able to kind of bring outside perspective into this organization that was stuck in its ways and its losing ways, that is new and opening up new worlds for Michael Bidwill. And this is all well and good. But I think ultimately now, especially from here on going forward, this fan base is just going to judge this solely based on wins and losses. And that's going to be just such a tough uphill climb, I think, for this regime to kind of get themselves back in the good graces. Like, this is something that used to happen a long time ago. People will tell you about coaches who had just awful starts to their careers, and back in the 80s and 90s, they were given the grace. But like this day and age, this is kind of unprecedented. And you like it would be a great story, but I'm not going to sit here and try to like spoon feed that to the Cardinals fan base. Like, I think they have every right to be frustrated and mad. But at the same time, like, you got to think of, okay, what's the path forward here that does find success, especially in this division that's just a gauntlet year in. I think you. Unfortunately, Bo, I think you put the division on the back burner for the rest of this year, and you're like, let's assess that in the offseason. Are we? Is the division out of reach? Well, no, I just mean like you're not even. You're not in the class of your own division, right? You got 3 teams that are going to make the playoffs. You've got maybe the coach of the year. You've got maybe the MVP. Like,
Which one is the coach of the year? Which one of the three?
I don't know. You tell me. You got multiple coach of the years. I think that might scare Michael Bidwill too. Like I just like you can't. I know you don't think that he thinks like that, and you're right. You're probably right. Like I can't go out and recruit somebody to compete in this division right now, and so I think better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. I honestly, he just believes in these people.
I agree with that. I think that's the biggest thing, and I've said this to you, and I've seen it. Like people would say, well, why the hell did Michael Bidwill stick with Steve Keim for 10 seasons?
He believed in him,
right? Why was Keim in that organization for 20 years when you just see the misstep after misstep?
And we're not comparing Keim.
We're not. But I think it sheds light into, and Michael Bidwill, and I don't mean this in a bad way, is very impressionable and very loyal. And as far as
sometimes those are good qualities.
Those are good qualities, but as far as in this game, which is a production league, it can be something that becomes a negative. You just got to figure out a path forward. Like, okay, if these guys can check some boxes here, you got to be able to check the boxes that matter to the fans that pay, hard-earned money to go see the game and buy jerseys and the TV packages.
I think like you're trying to get these guys to a position where you can get together in North Phoenix, and they've helped you bring the franchise forward, and that you want to be able to see their vision through. I think Michael Bidwill thinks that the roster is talented. I think he thinks it's been refortified. I think there's the aspect of the Kyler Murray situation where it's like they're going to get that mulligan, which is crazy because Kyler Murray's not giving up 40 points back-to-back weeks, right? Like that's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely real thing. So you mentioned like path forward. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'll be changes on the staff. How can there not be?
Mm-hmm.
And I was texting with somebody late last night. Like I think Jeff Rodgers is in real trouble. He's had a bad season.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's not going to move the needle with the fans. Special team coach isn't going to move the needle.
Right.
I think there could be some hesitation to part with Justin Fry, given the relationship with Ohio State, and given the fact that your offensive coordinator everybody feels like he's out of his depth right now. Mm-hmm. Like I would not be surprised to see Justin Fry return with a new offensive coordinator. I think like the public perception, like Justin Fry was courted by multiple NFL teams. You got him, but did you set him up to fail because of who's calling plays? I wouldn't dismiss that. I mean, it's his first year in the NFL. He's inexperienced. It's not the downfall of Gannon because clearly I don't think he's going anywhere.
Right.
The downfall of these 3 seasons, in my opinion, unobjectively, has been the inexperience on their staff. And so if you talk about how to move forward, then you need an experienced play caller. If you're saying we're running it back with Jonathan Gannon and Austin Ford, you need veteran experience suddenly on both sides of the ball. Like, and I love Nick Rollis. His unit has regressed. Maybe you get a senior, quality control coach, DC, but offensively, it becomes a mandate for Monty Ossenford and Jonathan Gannon to get Brian Dable or Kevin Stefanski here. Like that is a non-starter because to your point, you're talking about play calling and getting the fan base back in a position where they trust this franchise. You have to get one of those 2 guys. That's for me, it's like, why did the Cardinals lose yesterday? Because I don't think it was a talent question. You don't think so either. Well, the Niners have 2 elite coaches on their staff, one on offense, one on defense. It's up to Gannon to figure out his side of the ball. The Cardinals have to be able to match that offensively, and there are going to be opportunities to do that this offseason. And I think they'd rather just go throw a bunch of money in an offensive coordinator.
Right. Look, I mean, that's the thing too, where it makes people kind of eye roll and be skeptical about finding success moving forward. It's not just we see what's been exposed, we see the glaring issues on this team, and sure, like you can find them up and down in all 3 phases, no doubt about it. So it's like yeah, special teams. That's going to the needle's not even going to like move at all. It's not going to pulsate at all. As far as offensive coordinator, there's going to be several teams in the market for an offensive coordinator.
You have to
quarterback, got to aggressively find and seek out a new quarterback. Like that's going to be such an important couple storylines that they have to find successful, options there in markets that aren't yielding a whole lot of options. So it's it's as much as you like, hey, I put myself back in the shoes of Bo Brock, Johnny Venerable, this Cardinals fan base wanting to do this thing the right way and understanding that comes with a lot of patience, but also understanding like, hey, this thing has hit a level of, concern in year 3, not year 1 and year 2. I think that just kind of makes things that much more tougher to understand why people are a little skeptical on this.
Well, when you and I are going to cover this team at nauseum like we do every offseason, and the theme of the offseason is going to be, fire Jonathan Gannon, should have fired him, get rid of him. People are going to be highly emotional, rightfully so. He's not going to be able to win people back this offseason. They're going to make, they should try. They're going to need to try. And we're recording this at the timing before Jonathan Gannon's press conference on Monday afternoon. And I'm going to challenge my co-host to ask about at the press conference later today, like, what would you say to the fan base, the messaging to the fan base right now? Because I think that the fan base kind of feels isolated from the Cardinals operation right now. Mm-hmm. How could they not?
Right.
And again, we're not coming on here and saying this is the right move. And we did a coaching hierarchy on the postgame show.
Yeah.
And then I got, tipped off late last night, and it's just like, he's safe. It's like, okay, if he's safe, there's nothing you can do about it if you want him gone. Right. Yeah. It's in his best interest though. He knows this. Like, they need to win some games at the end of this year. Right. And I know people are going to be pissed off because they want a high draft pick, but like the Houston game, the Falcons game, the Bengals game, this weekend against the Jaguars, like, show progress on defense, development young players, win some games here. Like, and then, we'll reassess in January. But I think the bottom line is, Bo, is that this fan base views this coaching staff as unlikable and ill-equipped to compete. And how could you give them more time?
Yeah.
We're not defending it. We're trying to rationalize it.
Right.
Michael Bidwill likely made a commitment that he wants to see through. And Monty Ossenford, Jonathan Gannon, Michael Bidwill are all very close. Throw Dave Sears in there. Like, they believe in what they're building. However, Jonathan Gannon needs to look in the mirror, and we would tell him this to his face, and make some cold, hard decisions of, okay, you're gifted another year. Your staff is not good enough. What changes are you going to make your staff good enough?
Michael Bidwill, Monty Ossenford, Jonathan Gannon will compete in NFC West based off the power of friendship. That's what it's going to be. Here we go. Sound off in
Please
the
don't
comments.
dislike this video, by the way.
Yeah. Sound off in the comments your thoughts as far as my co-host is reporting that Jonathan Gannon safe. He will continue on as it stands right now on November 17th, 2025.